Here's my question, and tonight I want all of you, every single one of my viewers, to tell me what you think in the comments, because your answer says more about the future of this war than any diplomat, president or general. Here's the question. If ending the Russia-Ukraine war means accepting a map where Russia keeps the territory it controls, would you take that deal or would you fight on? Because the truth is, that's the uncomfortable shadow hanging over the entire Trump peace plan. The leaked 28-point proposal that is already tearing through Washington, Brussels, Kiev and Moscow like a political earthquake. Welcome to APT Opinion. If you're new here, hit subscribe, because this is where we talk about the stories everyone else tiptoes around. Now, let's slow down and walk through this carefully. This entire diplomatic drama did not begin in a summit room. It did not begin with a UN vote. It didn't even begin with Zelensky or Putin. It began in Miami, during backchannel conversations allegedly involving Trump envoys and Kirill Dmitriev, the Russian sovereign wealth fund chief and one of Putin's closest financial operators. Let that sink in. The future map of Europe might have been decided in a luxury suite in Florida. This is not traditional diplomacy. This is politics, rewritten in the style of a Netflix thriller. And the leaked blueprint, it's even more dramatic. The plan says, Russia keeps Crimea, no debate, no ambiguity. 2. Russia keeps Luhansk and Donetsk, even though Ukraine still controls close to 15% of that land. 3. Eastern Ukraine becomes demilitarized, meaning Ukraine would have fewer troops on its own territory. 4. Ukraine caps its army size and missile range permanently. In return, the US gives security guarantees, a NATO-lite umbrella. But here's the twist. Ukraine would have sovereignty but not borders. Russia would have borders without acknowledging Ukraine's sovereignty. The US would have influence without responsibility. A compromise that satisfies no one, well, except the US, but still could redefine everything. Zelensky's government sees this as a betrayal wrapped in paperwork. For 2 years, Kiev was promised this: we'll arm you to win, we'll support you for as long as it takes, we won't negotiate over your heads. But today, Ukrainians are waking up to find Turkey and Qatar, not the EU, at the center of talks. And they're discovering that their future is being negotiated by people who aren't even in office yet. Imagine fighting a war for survival while someone else negotiates your survival. Ukraine feels cornered, and honestly, it's hard to blame them. Inside Washington, this peace plan has detonated a political grenade. Former Ambassador Michael McFaul says he is shocked the US would push a plan built around Russian demands. Republican Congressman Don Bacon has compared it to Munich 1938, aka the infamous appeasement of Hitler. Others warn that limiting Ukraine's military size is the same model that Russia used to trap Georgia after the 2008 war. But here's the counter-argument. This ends the war. This saves Ukrainian lives. This stops American money from disappearing into a forever conflict. This forces Europe to take responsibility. And this is where public opinion matters, which is why I asked you that question at the start. So if you haven't already, put it down. I'm going to be reading every comment. Now, Moscow. The Kremlin's reaction has been subtle, almost too subtle. They're not rejecting it. They're not embracing it. They're just repeating the same line. We are open to negotiations, Kiev is not. Now, this is classic Russian leverage psychology, to win the narrative before the negotiations even begin. Because to Moscow, this plan is not about peace, it's about validation. validation that Crimea is theirs, validation that the Donbas is theirs, validation that the West is tired, validation that Russia can reshape borders in the 21st century. You don't need tanks to win a war if you win the diplomacy, right? Now let's talk about Europe, the continent most affected by this deal, and yet the least consulted. France is uncomfortable. Germany is panicking quietly. Poland is furious. The Baltics are alarmed, and Hungary is celebrating. A senior Hungarian official told Newsweek they fully and unconditionally support Trump's peace plan. This is unquestionable evidence of a very uncomfortable truth. Europe is no longer a united bloc on Ukraine. Europe is fractured, politically, militarily, psychologically. That alone changes the war. And here's something that analysts keep ignoring. Japan didn't lose to China, it lost to the United States. Russia will not lose to Ukraine, but it can lose to the West provided the West stays united. But the West is not united anymore, evidently, and that's why this peace plan may succeed where others failed. Not because it's brilliant, but because exhaustion is defeating conviction. Zelensky defined victory as returning to 1991 borders. Putin defined victory as denazification, demilitarization, and control of the Donbas. Europe defined victory as stability. The US defined victory as not losing face. And Trump defines victory as ending the war under my watch, no matter what he has to do or promise to achieve that. But here's the plain truth, and tell me you're seeing this too. Every definition of victory contradicts the others. And when goals collide, peace becomes the battlefield. So here's my final APT opinion question, and I mean this. Is this peace plan the beginning of the end of the war, or the beginning of the end of Ukraine as we know it? Will history remember this moment as diplomacy saving lives, or as realpolitik redrawing borders at gunpoint? Tell me in the comments, because your voice matters more than any geopolitical experts. Hit subscribe. We're just getting started and we need your support. This is APT Opinion, and the world is watching.